So I also wanted to talk briefly here about the 30-hour backup on I-95. This is an NPR. Officials finally clear up crashes that kept drivers in freezing temperatures on I-95. Drivers along a 50-mile stretch of Interstate 95 in Virginia, south of the nation's capital, are no longer trapped in freezing temperatures after heavy snowfall contributed to spinouts and crashes. Quote, I-95 is open after being closed for emergency response for most of the day, Virginia's Department of Transportation announced in a tweet just after 9:30 Eastern on Tuesday, more than 24 hours after the traffic nightmare began. Quote, all disabled vehicles have been removed from the interstate, the state DOT continued. Hundreds of drivers became stranded in standstill traffic during Monday's rush hour, and some remain stuck for 16 hours or more, some even 30. That's actually a low number they put in this article. State police said several tractor trailers jackknifed on the slippery interstate, making the road impassable and causing a massive backup of commuters. Traffic was still not back to normal by early afternoon on Tuesday, and some people were still stranded. Governor Ralph Northam sent an emergency alert to drivers saying supplies and help were on the way. Okay. Northam is exactly why I wanted to cover this. Northam came out and effectively said, not our fault. We warned you not to be on the road. So he turned around and blamed the drivers for being on the road when this all went down. Guys, this was a situation where people could have easily died. I don't know that people really realize the extent of this situation. I mean, I'm no fan of the dude, but apparently Senator Tim Kaine was stuck in this traffic. He said he was in this place where he didn't know how long this was going to last. So he's trying to conserve his gas and also stay warm. So he'd turn his car on for 5 or 10 minutes to heat it up a little bit, then turn it off and fall asleep, wake up 20 or 30 minutes later because it's fucking freezing cold, and turn his car on for 5 or 10 more, right? I mean, imagine every time you're doing that, a couple times an hour, you're sitting there going, how much gas do I have left, right? Imagine if you were on the road on some long road trip and your gas light comes on right before you hit that traffic. And now you got a day plus to sit in your car and try to stay warm, okay? You got traffic back, you got pets and kids, no bathrooms, no food, no, like this was a disastrous emergency situation, the type of situation where people very much have died in the past. And Northam's response is, yeah, it's the driver's fault. We warned you. You shouldn't have been on the road. So simultaneously, these elite assholes want to tell you, you need to go to work. You know, don't let COVID stop you from going to work. Return to work. And at the same time, they want to say, we warned you not to be on the road. By the way, of all locations, the National Guard could easily have been dispersed. This is right by the Capitol. It's in Virginia. Did Northam utilize the National Guard? No, he didn't. There was one guy who posted from this backup that he had been there for like a day and seen one cop, and that it had been hours and hours and hours since he'd seen a cop. The authorities did nothing about this, nothing. So that was the reason that I wanted to cover it. It seems like in every mode of crisis, the response that we get is either inadequate or nothing at all. We look at COVID right now. We look at climate crisis. You know, we look at any time there's a financial crash. The response that we get from those who are tasked with dealing with these situations is always inadequate or nothing at all. And then it's to point the finger and blame the powerless among us, the victims of these crises. It's your fault, right? Right? An increase in food prices is your fault for taking a $1,200 check. You're stuck on the road. That's your fault. Don't want a climate crisis? Why are you driving a car? Right? It has to be made about the powerless. We are the ones to blame for all these crises that they allow to happen to us. So I'm very grateful that this crash is, or this backup rather, is cleared up. For those that don't know, I-95 is like one of the most traveled stretches of road on the East Coast. That very stretch. So just terrifying, you know. Imagine being in that situation where you don't have information, you don't know when you're going to get out. You're sitting there going, are we going to be here 2 or 3 more days? What are we going to eat? right? All that kind of stuff. I did see one anecdotal story that was kind of heartwarming. There was a truck that got stuck in this mess that was a bread delivery truck. Like it was stocked full of bread, right? So a couple sitting behind this truck noticed that, called the company, and apparently someone at the company ordered the driver to start handing out bread. So heartwarming anecdotal example of some good happening, but again, that's kind of the exception that proves the rule in terms of how companies tend to behave about this stuff. But I did think that was a cool story. It also kind of, it expresses the desperation, you guys. That's not the kind of thing that happens if everything's fine. If we just need a couple more hours and we'll have it cleared up, you can bet that company's not distributing bread to drivers, right? So I just wanted to make sure everybody understood the extent of what this could have turned into, and how lacking the response from authorities were. And then for Northam to turn around and just blame the people stuck in traffic. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? What is wrong with you? You're the one with the authority to deal with this situation. And instead you left people in the freezing cold for 30 hours and then wagged your finger at them. Fuck you. Shame on you. That's just outrageous. So I did want to make sure to note on that. That was a big story here this last week.